All right, all you devils, how we doing today? Here we are on the 18th of October, Friday, kind of middle of the day. So of course we're gonna look at Bitcoin. Here's the Elliott count that we've been working with. It does seem to be pretty much right on track here. Now I've got an 8-hour here up on Bitstamp, and just for a quick review, right? So kind of working through the WX, and then per that X, the count here seems to imply that we've got an A, a B, and we're seeking the C to complete the Y down here. Does seem to be on its way down here to our golden zone. Now we do have, as I've shown this before here, we've got this fib channel here that does seem to be supporting this, and it's offering the potential. It's just that the confluence here where we might get, you can see here the golden zone coming down through the channel, where we get that intersection here, which would be, would just be technically nirvana right here. We get that right there, so we'd get the intersection of the two golden zones, and that's setting you up for around the 21st or the 22nd of October. Looks like we've got all the conditions there for an interesting, right? It's just potential, just an interesting technical pivot that's lined up there. Right? It's not insignificant to be coming down to the 618 or the golden zone from our swing low. Now, one thing to note here, which is, bears, of course, bears all see this, right? The pocket that we've got here, but in the volume profile here, where we've just got, so this moves so quickly, we don't have much market acceptance here. So you really don't, if we break here, right, high probability we're going to head down to at least challenge the 786, where we'd find some more support here. All right, and all that is just, if you just kind of take that and draw it over, you can see where that support's coming from. So we got to be mindful of that if there is any sort of a break here. Indicator's not a lot. I mean, clearly sellers are in control at the moment. If we come down here, we could get into this oversold condition again easily. Might tee all of that up rather nicely. But at the moment, it's really, unless you're like me, you just see this entire region here as an area to accumulate. Whether it's here. Now, if it keeps going, if you're a long-term bull, you just keep accumulating. But not with leverage, not on margin. That's not what I'm saying. This is for long-term area to accumulate. Not without some risk, right? The risk, well, of course, long-term risk is that we keep going lower, but the short-term risk, right, let's recognize, is just opportunity cost. If that money is parked here and tied up here, it can't be used elsewhere. But I don't think there's anything here that would suggest deviating from that position here, that this is a time to be accumulating, and eventually the expectation is if we're going to complete this, technically it sets up pretty well. Now we'd like to see the reaction come out of here, something along those lines. But there's nothing to suggest being a buyer here technically based on this price action. So now members, there's not much more I can add here from an Elliott perspective. It's just a little bit of hurry up and wait here to see if we're going to get that kind of confluence down here. So now members, right, we've been playing with this, playing is the wrong word. We've been working with this Renko template that's a bit of a, it's a trading view derivation of what we do with NinjaTrader here in the day trading channel, but it certainly has value here, and we can use it as another filter in terms of potentially getting long here. So if we just come over here, same thing, I've got an 8-hour here. I switched from Bitstamp to Coinbase. So you can see here, and I've got a 13-period ATR on this, so it's just it's just kind of the default setting here. So if you're looking here, swing low, swing high, we're accumulating at the 50 here. But using our filters down here, and this is interesting, we do have a MACD cross here, so we have a little bit of positive motion here. But if I open this up here, you can see the OBVs, clearly sellers are in control here. So this is a mixed signal. The shorter term moving average is the filter here suggesting, we don't even have a cross here. This is the one standout. Seems to be tied to just these two bars. Right? It was just enough to get that little cross here, but not enough to be putting on any sort of a long. The one thing about this template here, right, so for those of you that have been kind of testing it out or doing some experimentation, Right, so some of these things, you know, nothing changes here. So here's our, just because we're looking at Renko bars, first target, right? Just hit second target. Additionally, I mean, you still same geometry, nothing. Let's see here. Let's do it this way. I can get a little more traction on this. And get our low here. All right, so you can see here, so the geometry is suggesting, okay, so there's one piece of the puzzle here. So we've got this, let's see, did we get, I think this was too high. All right, so it was the 787 here caught this, but I think this was our secondary. So we do get a perfect measured move here. All right, so here's the 50. We just tag, so we're tagging the median line as we hit second target. Interesting, right? But again, nothing says time to be a buyer here. So if this is going to continue to roll over, right, we're going to head down to some of these lower levels, keeping an eye on that median line. That would put us, now there's 22nd, 23rd. If we're going to stay on this trajectory, well, we could get there sooner. But it's just one to watch. Now, what I wanted to show you here, though, is that, you know, if you're in a position to where you can be monitoring the market throughout the course of the day, I mean, if you want more trading, a template like this is going to give you a lot more trading. So let me just kind of demonstrate here. This is going to be a short video today because there's just not a lot to really sink our teeth into. But now, so this is an 8-hour. So you know, if you want trading action, well, let's go down to a 15-minute. All right, plenty of. So we can just kind of walk through these here. So here's just first thing I see. So here's the MACD cross. The OBV goes positive. Let's see, our first bar that where we would qualify here is right here. So we get the cross. We've got enough distance from the low. You know, so there's $400. Oh, coming down here. So here's our cross. OBV goes negative. Here's our filter here. Next trip down. What do we get here? $300 here. Next trade here. Here's the cross. OBV goes negative. We get, it looks like it's about here before we get the conditions. There's another $300 there. You know, if that's moving too fast for you, take it out to the hourly. So here, cross. So we're below the Vegas wave. We get the conditional cross here of the two shorter terms. It's right about here, all the way down. There's $1,500. Over to the buy side. Here we get the cross. Let me get here. So it looks like it's this bar here would take us up to the Vegas wave. There's $500. Let me open this up a little bit. All right, on the sell side. We cross here. Stop is here. All right, so it's always the last fractal. So here's the qualifying bar. Yep, right here. All right, so the stop is back at 1 fractal. So we're still going short, 590. So if you want more trade action, this is the kind of template that'll give it to you. Let me get this, get that off. Shit, how do I always struggle with that? I guess I hit escape. There we go. Okay. So you've got, I mean, shit, even the long, the short here. I mean, all of these are, if you just wait for that filter, right? OBV goes negative. We get the cross here. Where's the qualifying? Here's our qualifying bar right here. It took a small amount of heat. Even if you took the stop here, well, there's $200. So, I mean, just the point being, if you're looking for more trade action, right, it's just a function of, you know, go out to a 3-hour, things are going to slow down, but the moves are going to get bigger. So here, here's your first cross. Let's see how this would have played here. So coming out of here, here's the cross. OBV goes negative. Here we stay. So really, this, you don't have it until you're right. It's right here. It's this bar here. Right, we get all of our conditions met. Down, down, down we go. Stop is the fractal back. And this is really, I mean, it's a simplified approach, right? We're not doing any Elliott here. There's $2,300. And so it's just a function of how attentive to the market can you be throughout the course of the day. You know, I mean, depending on the confidence you have in whatever exchange you're trading on, putting a stop there and walking away from the market. You know, some exchanges more confidence than others. But here, right, we have a cross here, but we don't have the conditions met. So right now, the last thing we'd have here on a 3 hour, let me get that off, on a 3 hour would be the short. So we get this, so here, we don't get the qualifier here because of where that wick is. So here's the qualifying bars right here. Right, so we go now, but we don't go negative until this bar here. So the OBV's there, the MACD crosses, so you're short now on that with, I think reasonable target would be down here. Here's our golden zone. Right? So if we're going down there, there's another $1,000, right? Stops here. So let's just do the P&L on that. Short position. So we cross. So you're right here. There's your stop. If it's going to get to 618, well, that's not quite 2 to 1. So we'd be after the 6.5. So then we get 2.5 to 1. So not something to do with leverage, right? If you're going to give it that much room, which is really, technically that's how you'd want to trade that. So you'd have to be a little more aggressive on that target or keep your size smaller. So we're going after the 65, so I can get 2.5 to 1. If I bring that back, just to get 2 to 1 would put you in the golden zone, right at the 618, just a hair beyond it. Get you to get 2 to 1. I mean, you got to have a target. So this is a reasonable target. So thereby, right, it may affect the amount of size that you put on there, or whether you take the trade at all. Right, but all the conditions are met here for the sell. All right, I don't know much else that I can add. The only other thing that I would offer to you here is, let me remove all of that. If you go out to the daily, if you really want to slow things down, I mean, you just want to get the major turns. Well, here's 3,200 to 12,000. Right, at no point. Well, here's the qualifying bar. Here's the MACD cross, OBV, all positive. You got 7,000 there, coming down, right? So not necessarily you're going to get the pivot high, right? Let's be realistic here, right? But going right up to the golden zone. So here's the bar that qualifies. If I get it right, here's our qualifying bar. You went right to the golden zone. $5,800. Coming down out of that, coming out of the golden zone here. We just saw it. So if you're out here on the daily and you just want the major swings, this is an alternate way to approach it, right? Again, it's just the simplified. You can still throw God, that thing bugs me. You can still throw an Elliott count on this, right? We don't lose that, or you might put them side by side. So you're watching the Elliott count and then perhaps using this as a filter. But you're going to get a lot more trades here, especially if you shorten the time frame. So daily, right, there's absolutely no indication that it's time to be a buyer, at least not yet. But of course, right, as I just showed you, we're just bumping into the 50 now. All right, guys, there's a few things to work with. I'd encourage you, members, right, so keep working with this template. I think you'll find there's real value there. All right, it's a simpler way to approach the market. All right, that's about all I can add. There's just not a lot to do, right? We just kind of wait and see. Do we come down here and get this pocket? I'd certainly have an alert on that. Okay, guys, there you go.